Today we are going to discuss the course Costing Introductory Chapter. What is meant by cost, costing and cost accounting, and what are the advantages and limitations of costing, and how can we prepare the cost sheet and its advantages. Okay. Let us all know clearly each and every business organization's ultimate aim is to maximize the profit, so that every business organization wishes to maintain and follow the system of accounting which provides useful information to them for making meaningful decisions. Financial accounting system is a compulsory accounting system so that we can have such type of accounting in every business organization and follow it to know the yearly profit or loss. In such a way, we depend on totally financial accounting system. Then why do we are in need of costing and cost accounting system? So it is the derived form of financial accounting, because the cost records only based on the financial records. So financial records are the foundation for cost accounting system. Now let us know the meaning of cost. Cost means nothing. It refers to an expenditure that are sacrificed by us towards the attainment of goods or services. So it is the amount of expenditure incurred on a given thing and a notional expenditure attributable to a given thing. It is defined by Chartered Institute of Management Accountants. Now, what is meant by costing? It refers to the technique and process of ascertaining cost. That means what are the techniques and how can we ascertain the total cost for meaningful decision making? It refers to costing. Okay. Then cost accounting. It is nothing but the process of accounting for cost which begins with recording of expenditure and ends with the presentation of statistical data. In the financial accounting system, the recording process starts with journal, and then we have to prepare the ledger and then trial balance. With the help of these things, finally we have to prepare the financial statements to know the profit or loss. Likewise, cost accounting system also having certain recording procedure and the maintenance of records in such a way. But here there is no uniform standards like financial accounting. Already we are all having financial accounting system. Then why do we are in need of cost accounting system? Only because of the added advantages to the persons who are all connected with the business. It may be related to the particular business. Now let us know the advantages of cost accounting from the point of view of management. How the cost accounting system helps the management. Already we discussed, it is a system of accounting which provide added benefits, because financial accountings we can have the entire report only at the end of the financial year, so that we cannot apply any meaningful decisions during that particular year itself. That's why we are in need of cost accounting. So it helps the management to measure efficiency of an organization, whether it is going on rightly or not. It can be easily identified with the help of cost records. We can't wait for the year ending. We can prepare the costing records whenever the need arises. Then fixation of selling price. Ascertainment of cost is the basic function. That is the recording up of expenditure. So with the help of that ascertainment of cost, the particular concern can have meaningful decision making regarding the fixation of selling price, and it can also ensure profit. Then effective decision making. For example, marginal costing. It is one of the major technique followed in cost accounting system. So with the help of that marginal costing technique, we can have a meaningful decision in case of making the component or buy the component, or whether we have to accept the order or reject the order, continue the line of product or shut down the line of product, like that. Another major advantage is reduction of wastage. With the help of cost accounting, we can have the information regularly so that we can minimize the ineffective areas and we can have better control over the particular areas. So it helps the management to reduce the wastage of materials or labor time, etc. Standard costing and budget, these things helps to control over the cost, because predetermined standard helps the organization to compare the actual expenditure with the standard and whether that particular material or labor we have control or not, by verifying the actual expenditure incurred with the standard one, favorable or unfavorable, like that, so that we can able to correct it in that particular period itself. Then effective inventory control will also be possible with the help of cost accounting system. Not only inventory, at the time of purchase, at the time of issue, we can have effective control over that by applying various material costing techniques like level setting, economic ordering quantity, ABC analysis, VED analysis, perpetual inventory system, that means stores ledger, preparation of stores ledger, bin code, and the comparison of such records while preparing the physical verification. So these things helps to have effective control, inventory control by the organization. Then effective utilization of resources. Scarce resources may be effectively utilized with the help of key factor analysis under the technique of marginal costing. The advantages connected with employees. One concern, if it have to success in its field, employees are the major assets, human resources. So in that aspect, fair wage policy, motivation through proper incentive and bonus plans, and stability of tenure, that means they have to retain their job in the same organization without any labor turnover, because one particular organization which has control over the labor turnover, it definitely have an opportunity to be a number one company. So in such a way, cost accounting system provides the employees to have fair wage policy as well as proper incentive schemes which motivates them to continue in the same organization. Then advantages connected with the creditors. Wherever the concern is going on profitably, every concern is in a position to borrow money whenever need arises. So in such a way, if the concern wishes to borrow for money for expanding the business or offering new line of product, in such a case, the creditors can have a better idea whether to provide the credit facility to that particular organization or not. It will be depends on the decision making of the creditors, so that the creditors are able to understand the progress and profitability of the concerns, and also they have measured the financial viability of the concern while lending. In such a way, the cost records helpful them to understand the progress and profitability as well as to measure the financial viability of an organization. From the point of view of the government, what are the advantages comes under the heading is granting of subsidies. While granting subsidy, the government can finalize whether they have to grant subsidies to that particular organization, as well as planning of resources, utilization of scarce resources, as well as formulating policies and taxation. Then the advantages of cost accounting to the public. Generally, the customers are one of the major parts of the general public so that the customer can have quality products with a reasonable price, fair price for products, because by reducing the wastages and cost control, which helps them to offer their product in a fair price. And also while applying the cost accounting system, every concern have to form a separate costing department which provides employment opportunities. Even though the system of cost accounting provides these kind of major advantages, almost all the personalities, all the persons, whether they are government or employees or management, anyone else, it provides various advantages, even though there should be some limitations of cost accounting. Such limitations are given in that slide, the cost accounting system is purely based on secondary data only, because we always depend on financial records. So is there any mistakes or malpractices or wrong or errors in that particular records, which reflects in the final outcome of cost accounting also. So on the basis of such final information, the company should make decisions. It may be goes wrong if the particular basic records are not properly maintained, as it is a derived form of financial accounting. Then lack of uniformity. In a financial accounting system, we have to follow the golden rules, standard procedures, debit, credit aspects, those things. But under the system of cost accounting, there is no uniform procedures, so that we cannot able to compare the outcome with some others, like comparison of one unit with others, because everybody, they have to form a separate norms to follow, so that there is no uniformity. According to their own views, they have maintained the system of cost accounting. Then under the financial accounting system, actual facts and figures only entered, so that it reflects the real views of that records. But in case of cost accounting system, partially actual figures and partially estimated figures are used. So the estimation sometimes goes wrong. Then cost accounting system is one of the expensive procedures. We have to maintain so many records, as and when required it provides information, so that on the basis of that we have to spend much more while applying the system of cost accounting, and it should have a separate department also, so that we have to provide the salary to such employees also. So it is suitable and applicable only for large scale organization, not for small scale in organization. The mere informations provided by the cost accounting is not enough for meaningful decisions, so that the classification of cost is must. So here I am going to explain the elements of cost. What are the elements of cost? If we take into account a particular cost of a chair or cost of a table, it includes the cost spent towards material, labor as well as expenses. So these are the elements of cost: material, labor and expenses. Every elements have been classified into two: direct material, indirect material, likewise labor, direct labor and indirect labor, expenses, direct expenses and indirect expenses. What is mean by direct material? We all know material is a substance which makes the product, which is used to make the products. Direct material means the particular materials are used in the final product as a main material, and we can easily it can be easily visible and identified and measured accurately. That is called as direct material. So in a plastic chair, plastic is the main material. In a leather bag, leather is the main material. In a wooden chair, wood is the main material. These are all the direct material. We can measure it, how much we are in need to make how many number of products, like that. Indirect material means the material which supports the final product, but we cannot easily measure and identify it in the final product. For example, in a wooden table, to join the wood, they have used some nails. It will be called as indirect material. Then labor. Labor is one of the major resources which is used to convert the raw materials into final product. Under that head, we classified it into direct labor and indirect labor. Direct labor are those who are all engaged in the production work, so that we can measure their performance and show the output on that day. On that particular day, what they performed, we can show the output. We can show the performance in the form of product. But indirect labor means that particular labor, we cannot measure their work in the form of output. We can't show any output for them. For example, supervisor, storekeeper, general manager, factory manager, even a watchman, they are all performing something, but we cannot show it in the form of output. Then expenses, which is also direct expenses. The particular material or labor directly spent towards the attainment of the final product, which will be called as direct expenses. And indirect expenses refers to a common expenditure that outcome of such expenditure is enjoyed by all the departments, so that we cannot allocate it to a particular unit. That is called as indirect expenses. For example, factory rent. There should be so many departments are there, like production department, selling department, administration department, like that, so that we cannot allocate such factory rent to a specified department. It will be proportionately allocated. So that is called as indirect expenses. So with the help of these classifications, the concern may able to prepare the cost sheet or statement of cost, which indicates the breakup of the total cost by elements. Already we discussed material, labor and overheads, and it also discloses the total cost as well as cost per unit of the product and unit produced. Then it helps the management in fixation of selling price. It acts as a guide to the management because it has some breakup of cost. Cost sheet have breakup of cost. That's why it acts as a guide to the management, and we can compare the particular cost sheet with the previous cost sheet, so that a meaningful decision and what is the major variation in which category of expenses, it can be easily identified by the management. And the cost sheet enables to keep control over the cost of production and help the management in submitting quotations or tenders, which is the major part and major advantage of preparing the cost sheet. Here we can have the format of simple cost sheet. Say it. First we have to include direct material, direct labor and direct expenses. Totally all direct items is called as prime cost. Then we have to add factory overheads. Factory overhead means indirect material, indirect labor and depreciation of machinery used for production, like that. That is called as factory overheads. We may also include a salary to the factory manager, these things, oil, like that. So these are all comes under the category of factory overheads. If we add this factory overheads with prime cost, we can have factory cost or works cost. Then we have to add office or administration overhead like salary to the manager, then salary to the typist, like that. So after adding the office or administration overhead with the factory cost, we can have cost of production. Then finally we have to add selling and distribution overheads with the cost of production so that we can have cost of sales or total cost. Finally, the difference between the selling price or sales value and the total cost will be treated as profit or loss, so that the particular concern can have the total profit or loss with the help of cost sheet. Thank you all. We will see in the next video.